Have you ever sat in your favorite chair, looked out the window, and suddenly felt the silence grow heavier than usual? Maybe it's not just silence. It's the echo of a voice you used to hear every day. A voice that gave you purpose, joy, and sometimes even frustration, but always love. And now, that voice is gone. If you've lost your husband or your child, first, I just want to say, I see you. I may not know your exact story, but I understand that this pain isn't just emotional. It reaches into your bones, your daily rhythm, your reason to get up in the morning. Losing someone so close can shake you to your very core. It can leave you wondering, now what? What do I do with all this time, all this grief, all this love with nowhere to go? That's why we're here today. This video is not going to give you quick fix answers or tell you to move on, because healing from this kind of loss isn't about moving on. It's about moving forward, slowly, gently, with intention. And you don't have to do it all at once. Today, we're going to talk about what to do, and more importantly, how to be, when your heart has been broken by the loss of a husband or a child. I'll be here with you, like a friend having a heart-to-heart chat over tea. So let's begin. One breath, one small step at a time. The first thing I want to tell you is this: allow yourself to grieve your way. There's no timetable for grief. There's no right amount of time to cry, to feel angry, to feel nothing, or to feel everything all at once. Some people talk a lot about their loss. Others go quiet. Some find comfort in keeping their loved ones' belongings just the way they left them. Others need to box things away just to make it through the day. And all of that is okay. You don't have to explain your grief to anyone. You're allowed to feel however you feel without apology. Maybe you were married for 40 years and now you wake up alone. Or maybe your child was the one who checked in on you, made you laugh, gave you purpose in your older years. Their absence is not something you get over, it's something you carry differently over time. So please, take that pressure off your shoulders. There's no deadline on healing. Now, once you've given yourself that permission to grieve in your own way, the next gentle step is this: talk to someone. And I don't just mean a professional, though that can help too. I mean someone who listens. Someone who doesn't rush you, doesn't try to fix your sadness with cliches like, they're in a better place. That might be a friend, a neighbor, someone at your place of worship, or even a grief support group. You might think, I don't want to burden anyone, especially if you're the kind of person who's always been strong for others. But let me say this clearly: your pain is not a burden. It's real. It matters. And it deserves to be witnessed. Sometimes just speaking your loved one's name out loud can bring a kind of comfort that no medication or distraction ever could. And if you don't feel like talking yet, that's okay too. Write, sing, cry, pray, or sit quietly with your memories. Even your silence can be a form of communication with yourself, with your loved one, with the world. As you begin to find your voice again, you may notice something else. The days keep coming, one sunrise after another, and they can feel long, empty, and purposeless. That's why the third gentle step is build a new routine, one small ritual at a time. Maybe it starts with something as simple as opening the curtains every morning, putting on a fresh pot of coffee, or watering a plant. These little acts, the ones that seem pointless now, are actually your anchor. They keep you tethered to life when you feel like drifting away. Let me share a story. A woman named Linda, who lost her husband after 52 years of marriage, told me that for months she couldn't do anything except sit on the edge of her bed and stare at the floor. One day she decided to start walking around the block, just once a day. That was her ritual. It didn't solve everything, but it gave her something to count on when everything else felt uncertain. A year later, she joined a gardening club and now teaches others how to grow roses. That little walk changed her life. So start small. If you used to cook for your husband, maybe now you cook for yourself. Try a new recipe. Eat your favorite dessert just because you can. If your child used to call every Sunday, write them a letter anyway. Read it out loud. Keep it in a box. That ritual becomes a conversation, a lifeline between the past and the present. And that brings me to something tender and powerful. Don't let go of the love. You don't have to. People might tell you that in order to move forward, you have to let go. But that's not true. You're not letting go. You're letting that love change shape. From something you shared with them in life to something you carry in memory. Keep photos up if that helps you. Talk to them when you're making tea. Bring their name into conversations. Celebrate their birthday in your own quiet way. The love doesn't end. It just transforms. And that love, that deep, abiding love, can be a source of strength you carry with you into every new day. Sometimes that love will hurt, and sometimes it will warm you unexpectedly. Both are part of the journey. Let me pause here and tell you this. You are doing better than you think. Just by showing up today, by listening, by breathing through this moment, you are choosing life, even in the middle of loss. That takes courage. That takes heart. And you, my dear friend, have both. There's something deeply strange about the way time moves after you lose someone you love. The days blur together. The nights feel endless. You might catch yourself looking at the clock and wondering how it's still only 2:15 a.m. in the afternoon, like time itself is dragging its feet. And yet somehow weeks go by. Months. The world keeps spinning while you feel like you're standing still. But even in this stillness, something inside you is quietly shifting. That's the part we're going to talk about now. The part where you slowly begin to reconnect with yourself. You see, when you spend years, even decades, pouring your heart into caring for a spouse or raising a child, it's easy to lose sight of who you are apart from them. And when they're gone, that question comes knocking. Who am I now? Who am I without them? That question may feel frightening at first, even cruel, but it's not meant to take away what you had. It's an invitation to rediscover the parts of you that may have been resting quietly in the background all these years. The interests, the dreams, the laughter, the quiet joy that belong to you. So let's begin gently. Try this. Spend a few minutes each day doing something just for yourself. Not to stay busy, not to distract from the grief, but something that brings a flicker of light into your day, no matter how small. Maybe you pick up a book you've been meaning to read for years. Maybe you listen to music that stirs something inside of you. Or maybe you just sit on the porch and watch the sky change colors in the evening. And when you do, try to notice how your body feels. Notice if you're breathing a little deeper. If the corners of your mouth lift just a bit. Those moments may feel tiny, but they matter. They are signs of life blooming again. One woman I met, whose only son passed away in his 40s, told me she started painting again, something she hadn't done since she was in her 20s. At first, it felt silly, even painful. She worried it was selfish to enjoy anything again. But with each stroke of the brush, she said, she could feel her sorrow turning into something softer, something more peaceful. She wasn't forgetting him. She was honoring his memory by choosing to live. And that's what I want for you too. To live, not just survive. Let's also talk about your body for a moment. Grief doesn't only weigh on your heart, it wears down your bones, your muscles, your energy. That's why the next step is to treat your body with care, even if you don't feel like it. This isn't about running marathons or pushing yourself. It's about simple kindness to the vessel that's carried you through joy and pain alike. Maybe it means stretching your arms overhead when you wake up, taking a slow walk through the garden, eating something nourishing, even if it's just soup and toast, and drinking enough water. It sounds basic, but I can't tell you how many people forget to care for their bodies when their hearts are hurting. Think of it this way. Your loved one would want you to be well. They would want you to keep living, not just existing. Every sip of water, every nourishing meal, every moment of fresh air, these are quiet ways of saying to the world, I'm still here. I still matter. And you do, more than you may realize right now. Now, I want to gently invite you to think about something many people avoid during grief: connection. When we're grieving, it's natural to want to pull back, to retreat into solitude. Sometimes the world feels too loud, too full of people who don't understand what you've lost. But the truth is, while solitude can be healing, isolation can deepen the pain. That's why finding even one meaningful connection can make all the difference. Maybe it's a neighbor you share morning coffee with. Maybe it's a group at your community center or a church group you haven't visited in a while. Or maybe it's as simple as calling someone just to say hello. Don't worry about saying the right things. Connection isn't about performance. It's about being seen, heard, held in gentle presence. If you've been thinking of joining a group, maybe a widow's circle, a meditation group, or even an online chat with other seniors, this might be your sign to give it a try. You don't have to go every time. Just once, just to see how it feels. And if you're someone who finds peace in helping others, consider this. Sometimes the best way to mend your own heart is to hold someone else's for a little while. Volunteer somewhere meaningful. Knit blankets for newborns at a hospital. Write letters to people in nursing homes. You might be surprised at how much love still flows through you when you offer it freely. Finally, there's something I want you to hear loud and clear. You are not alone. Even in the quietest moments, even when it feels like no one could possibly understand what you're going through, there are others out there walking this same road. And many of them, like you, never thought they'd make it this far. But they did. And so can you. You are still you. A little more weathered, maybe. A little more tender. But you're still here. You still carry love in your heart. You still have stories to tell, beauty to see, moments to savor. The sun will rise again tomorrow. And when it does, I hope you let it touch your face, if only for a moment. That warmth on your skin, that's life whispering to you, you're still here. And there's still more to come. There's a quiet kind of bravery in simply continuing. In getting up, brushing your teeth, opening the curtains. To the outside world, these are small acts, but we know better, don't we? We know that after loss, even the smallest things can feel like climbing a mountain. And yet, here you are. You're doing it. One quiet breath, one slow morning at a time. There's something else I want to talk to you about now. Something we often carry deep inside and feel too shy or too guilty to name. Joy. After a loss, especially one as deep as losing a husband or a child, the very idea of feeling joy again can seem wrong. Like it's a betrayal of their memory. Like if you laugh or dance or enjoy a bowl of warm soup on a rainy day, it means you didn't love them enough. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Joy is not the opposite of grief. It's not a replacement. It's not something that cancels out your sorrow. It's something that grows beside it, like a wildflower blooming near a stone. You can hold both in your heart, the ache of absence and the flickers of joy that life still offers you. Give yourself permission to feel joy when it comes. You don't have to chase it, just don't push it away. Let yourself smile at a silly movie. Let yourself hum a tune you used to love. Let yourself feel warm in the sunlight, or curious when you see something beautiful at the market. Your loved one wouldn't want your life to end when theirs did. They'd want you to live, fully, bravely, beautifully. Now let's talk about something that often gets overlooked, especially in later years: having purpose. I know that after loss, it can feel like your purpose has been taken from you. You might have spent years taking care of your spouse or centering your life around your child or grandchildren. And now you wonder, what do I even do with myself? That question isn't selfish. It's human. Purpose doesn't have to be grand or dramatic. It doesn't have to be a job or a mission or a lifelong goal. Sometimes purpose looks like taking care of your plants, feeding the birds outside your window, checking in on a neighbor who's lonelier than you, writing down your memories so your grandchildren or even strangers can know what life looked like through your eyes. You still have something to give, something to share. Even if your steps are slower and your voice is softer, your presence still matters deeply to this world. I once met a man in his late 70s who lost his wife after 60 years together. For months he barely spoke. Then one day he started baking. Not for business, not for praise, just for people around him. Banana bread for the mail carrier. A pie for the woman next door who just had surgery. That simple act, sharing something from his hands and his heart, gave his day's rhythm again, gave him something to look forward to, and gave others something warm to hold on to too. So ask yourself gently, what small thing could bring your day a bit more meaning? What could help you feel useful again? Not to prove your worth, but to feel your place in the great gentle rhythm of life. And as you move through all of this, the grief, the memories, the slow return to joy, please remember to be kind to yourself. Some days will feel heavy. Some nights will feel endless. There might be moments when you think you're doing better, only to be knocked back by a memory, a photo, a familiar song on the radio. That's not failure. That's just how healing works. It's not a straight path. It curves and doubles back. But every step, no matter how shaky, moves you forward. And please don't forget, it's okay to ask for help. Whether it's a ride to the doctor, a friend to sit quietly with, or a counselor who can help carry some of your emotional load, you deserve support. Accepting help doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Even now, as you watch this video, I want you to know you are part of something. A quiet, invisible web of people who are walking this same road. People who have loved deeply, lost painfully, and chosen, in their own time, to live again. I'd like to invite you to do one more thing. Not for me, not for the video, but for you. Take a moment after this ends to sit with your hand over your heart. Just sit, breathe, and say to yourself, I'm still here, and I'm doing the best I can. Because that's more than enough. And more than that, it's beautiful. If you're still with me now, then I want you to take a deep breath and realize something important. You've just given yourself the time and space to reflect, to feel, and to heal, even if only a little. That, my friend, is an act of incredible strength. Many people shut the door on their grief. They pretend it's not there, or bury it under busyness. But you chose to sit with it, to listen, to honor your own heart. Let's end this conversation not with sadness, but with something softer, something hopeful. Because even after loss, life still stretches out in front of you. And believe it or not, there is still so much beauty waiting for you to notice it. It starts in the smallest places. The way the sunlight hits your kitchen counter in the morning, the way your old favorite song can still make you sway a little in your seat, the way the birds gather at your windowsill just as they always have. These are quiet gifts, and they don't ask for anything from you, only that you see them. Now, as you begin to move forward in your own time, I want you to know this. There's no need to erase the past to welcome the future. You carry your loved ones with you. In your memories, yes, but also in the way you speak, the way you love, the way you face each day with courage. Their story doesn't end with their passing. It lives on in you. Maybe you start writing again. Or maybe you learn to take photos with your phone. Maybe you decide to foster a pet or attend a senior dance. or finally take that short trip to the mountains or the beach. These aren't distractions from your loss. They're extensions of your life. Your precious, ongoing, beautifully imperfect life. There's a quote I've always loved. Grief is the price we pay for love. And what a love it must have been for the grief to run so deep. But here's the other side of that truth. Love never truly dies. It evolves. It softens. It becomes a companion you carry, not a wound you drag behind you. Some days, you'll laugh again, and maybe even forget the pain for a little while. Other days, the grief might catch you off guard in the middle of folding laundry or hearing someone call a name that sounds familiar. That's all part of the rhythm. There's no shame in it. And as you continue on, I hope you never forget how much your story matters. Not just to the people who've known you, but to those who may meet you for the first time. A neighbor, a young child, even someone who stumbles across your story online. You are a living legacy. Not just because of who you've loved and lost, but because of who you continue to become. If you ever feel like your presence doesn't matter, I want you to remember this moment right here. Someone made this video for you. You were thought of. You were seen. You are never as alone as you may feel. There is a quiet strength in your every breath, in your every choice to keep going. That strength deserves to be recognized and celebrated. So, as we close, I want to leave you with a few thoughts. First, you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to keep showing up for your life, as gently and as fully as you can. Second, you are worthy of love, of rest, of joy, of new beginnings, no matter your age, no matter your loss. And third, you are not broken. You are simply becoming something new. Now, I'd love for you to share something in the comments if you feel comfortable. A memory of your loved one, a habit that's helped you heal, or even just a hello to let us know you're here. This space is yours, and you never know who your words might comfort. If this video spoke to your heart, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more conversations like this one, ones that remind you that life after loss is still life, still meaningful, still yours. Thank you for letting me sit with you in this moment. You are deeply valued. You are still becoming. And you are absolutely not alone. Here's to living your life, tenderly, fully, and with the quiet knowing that love, once given, never truly leaves. Take care, dear friend. I'll see you again soon.